Hello, I hope you're doing well today. My name is Ian Green, and I'm the musician for Music Dreams and also for Ian J. Green, two different artist profiles you can find wherever you stream your music. And today we're going to be looking at part 3 on the topic of intervals, which is Unit 9, which is a set of units I've organized while following the Intermediate Elementary Music Rudiments course as written by Mark Sarnecki. Of course, these tutorials are used to help supplement the wonderful work that Mr. Sarnecki has done by creating this really fantastic and helpful book. Let's go over to this sharing my screen, and I will help you with some of this material. Now, in the previous tutorials, we spoke on how to find first a major interval or perfect interval that is either melodic or harmonic. Then we talked about the different types of intervals within a major scale. In the next part, we talked about minor intervals, augmented intervals, and diminished intervals. And today, what I'm going to do is outline a very helpful chart, which is on page 41 of this really helpful book. Now you can see here where the highlighter is. In the middle, it says Notes in the Major Scale. So I'm going to highlight that together with you. Notes in the major scale can be either created as a perfect interval or as a major interval. Now, if we want to go up 1/2 step, you can turn a perfect interval into augmented, and you can turn a major interval into augmented as well. If you want to go down, I'll put a sharp here in air quotations to basically mean that we raise the notes up, the top note especially. Now, if we start on the notes in a major scale and you want to go down 1/2 step, going to the left, then first we get perfect intervals going to diminished. And then major intervals first go minor. You can take a major interval, turn it 1/2 step smaller, and turn it into a minor interval. But then something that's kind of interesting is that after we go from a perfect interval to diminished, that's it. We can't make a perfect interval smaller by changing it 2/2 steps. It goes into a totally different interval. But you can change a major interval down to minor and then lower a minor interval down to diminished. So there are a couple of different things to notice here by these arrows. So I think something that's helpful here is when you're trying to find different types of intervals, to use something like this chart to know how much of the interval has to be changed in order to create the type of interval that you're being asked for. But the first thing to do is to always know first what the different types of the intervals in a major scale are. So then when you have to try to find and create other different special types of intervals, you'll know how much the major scale interval needs to be changed. Now let's look at an example together. It says, name the following intervals on the top of page 42, and then rewrite each as an augmented interval by changing the upper note. Now here we have a G to a D. This is an interval of a perfect fifth, so we can call it perfect fifth by going PER5. Now what we want to do is write the interval again, but now we're going to be raising the top note up 1/2 step. According to the chart, a perfect interval raised up with the top note raised up 1/2 step becomes augmented. So now we can say that this is an augmented fifth. In this next example, from F to A, we have something called a major third. But now if we want to go from F and then raise that top note up 1/2 step, we would go from F to A sharp, which then turns that interval into an augmented third. And so on. So something that's very important is to always think about what the bottom note is and what the major scale is. Then you can find and label the top note and then match it to the type of note you need to find. But then use the chart that we have on page 41 to know how much of a change we need to make. Augmented intervals are raised 1/2 step, and then a diminished fifth or any kind of diminished perfect interval can turn diminished by going down 1/2 step. but a diminished second, third, sixth, or seventh has to be lowered 2 times. First it goes minor, then it goes diminished. I hope this information was helpful, and in another tutorial I'm going to work on a couple of different practice questions so then we can see the process of how to actually master this really interesting topic while also not getting too confused. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time, and bye for now.